Mannering House loomed above us. The 4-story building must have been decadent at one time, but half a century of neglect had left it dilapidated and crumbling. Someone had nailed weather-stained wood over the lower windows, and the porch seemed to sag into the moonlit, overgrown lawn. My eyes were drawn to the highest room, the attic, where a curtain fluttered in the open window. I glanced at my 3 companions. Sanjeet had his arm around Tara's shoulders, while Jason swung his flashlight in erratic arcs as he led us up the dirt path toward the house. "We could go to a movie instead," Tara said, unable to keep the frightened squeak out of her voice. "I hear the theater is delightfully ghost-free." "Relax," Jason drawled, extending the last syllable as he jogged up the porch's steps. "This'll only take a minute." The door's locks had been broken years ago, probably by looters or curious teenagers like us, and the carved wood slab drew open with a low groan. Sanjeet hesitated on the threshold. "Somebody probably owns this place." Jason gave his friend's shoulder a high punch, then stepped into the vast, shadowed entryway. "Shh, no one cares." The bare rooms were dim and musty. I glanced to the right, into the living room, where knives of moonlight speared through gaps in the window's boards. "I hate this place," Tara whispered. "Me too." I wrapped my arms around my torso as I reluctantly followed my companions deeper into the building. "You guys know the story, right?" Jason asked, beckoning us towards the stairs. His delighted eyes landed on Sanjeet, who sighed. "You know I only moved here last year." "Go on, then. Tell me." Jason beamed and began to jog up the narrow stairway, which creaked under his weight. "Well, this place used to belong to the Mannering family. They were a pretty big clan in the 1800s, but most of them died at the turn of the century." He raised his eyebrows. "Some people say they were cursed." "Some people" was Jason, for the purpose of adding atmosphere. I rolled my eyes, but no one noticed in the dark. When the 30s rolled around, it was just Mr. Mannering, his 3 sons, and 1 daughter, Ruth. When the war hit, all 4 men were conscripted. Mr. Mannering came back. His sons didn't. Dark patches on the stairwell's walls showed where family portraits had once hung. I shuddered as I passed them. "The war made him crazy," Jason said, lowering his voice. We reached the landing and turned to follow the stairs to the 3rd floor. I glanced down the hallway behind us. The doors were open, and the room's furniture decaying. He locked Ruth up. Wouldn't let her go anywhere. Wanted to keep her safe, you know. Only problem was, she'd fallen for the vicar's son, Mason, while her dad was away. A spider spun down its thread to hover in front of my face. I gasped and Tara swung around. "What was that?" "Just a spider," I muttered, skirting it. Sanjeet squeezed his girlfriend's hand. "Don't be frightened." Jason coughed to bring the attention back to himself. "Remember how I said the dad was crazy? He really didn't want his daughter to leave. He forbade Mason from visiting. But the boy came during the dark of night, climbed the tree behind the house, and proposed to Ruth through her window. They made plans to elope the following night, but her dad found out, and he went ballistic." We'd reached the top of the stairs and faced a ladder that led to the final floor, the attic. Tara looked terrified, but she climbed the ladder when Jason waved her up. Sanjeet and Jason followed, with me coming last. Cobwebs hung from the angled roof like old lace. The window facing the driveway was to my left. Its curtains fluttered in the wind. To the right was an open window overlooking an ancient elm tree. The room was bare, except for a wooden chair. Dad takes an axe and drags Ruth up to this very room. When Mason climbs the tree that night, he can see them through the window. Dad bellows, "You'll never have her!" Then he chops his own child's head off. Sanjeet had turned a funny color. Tara nestled into his shoulder, shivering. The kid, Mason, breaks into the house. Mr. Mannering is standing over Ruth's body, laughing like the crazy man he is. Mason runs at him and pushes the both of them through the window, where they plunged to their deaths. "Question?" I raised my hand. "How do we know what happened if everyone died?" Jason ignored me. "They say Ruth's ghost haunts this house. She appears on nights like tonight, once with a full moon, to wait for her dead fiancé." Tara squirmed. "I want to go home." "Not yet. I haven't shown you my secret." Jason rubbed his hands together, grinning wildly. "Amy and I came up here last week for our date. Bit of privacy, you know." Sanjeet snorted. "And look what we found." Jason picked up the chair and turned it around for us to see. The seat had a deep gash, and the wood was stained nearly black. I'll bet anything. This is the chopping block dear old Dad used to behead his daughter. I want to go home, Tara repeated, sounding as if she were about to cry. I leaned on the windowsill to get a better look at the elm tree, and the wood creaked under my hands. Tara shrieked, and even Jason jumped, then broke out into laughter. All right, let's get out of here. I watched as the three friends climbed through the hatch that led to the floor below. Then I sighed and turned back to the window. My throat tightened as my fingers clutched at my blood-stained dress, and I gazed at the branch Mason had clung to the last time I'd seen him alive.